Hello everyone, this is Sangeeta and you are watching Chemistry Ke Basic Fun Day. In this video, we are going to learn something about electrochemistry. So let us start. As the term electrochemistry is self-explanatory because it contains of two terms. One is the electro, that means it would have something to do with electricity. And also another term is there, that is the chemistry. So the electrochemistry would have something to do with the chemical reactions. Okay, so in all total we can say that electrochemistry is a branch of chemistry which deals with the relationship between electrical energy and chemical energy taking place in a redox reaction. Okay, taking place in a redox reaction. That particular chemical reaction we are considering is the redox reaction. That is how the chemical energy produced in a redox reaction can be converted to the electrical energy, or it may be the case that how the electrical energy can be used in order to carry out or to bring out a redox reaction which is otherwise non-spontaneous. Okay, so in this case what is actually happening in electrochemistry, we can say that the chemical energy, either the chemical energy is converted to the electrical energy or the electrical energy is used in order to carry about a chemical reaction or particularly a redox reaction which is otherwise non-spontaneous. You can say that, ma'am, what is the need to learn about the electrochemistry? So let us discuss about the significance of electrochemistry first. Okay, before going to that, let me just tell you one term, that is electrochemical change. The chemical changes which involves the production or the consumption of electricity are known as the electrochemical change. Okay, so now let us discuss about the significance or the importance of electrochemistry. The electrochemistry actually has a great theoretical as well as practical importance in our daily life. Okay, so for example, a number of metals like that of sodium, magnesium, calcium, aluminium and a number of other compounds also, or the chemicals like that of NaOH, Cl2, the molecules, F2 can be produced commercially, or we can say at industrial level, by the also the batteries and cells which we use in various instruments and devices actually converts the chemical energy to electrical energy. Okay, so it is required, or we have to learn about the electrochemistry, because in our day-to-day life there are a lot of things which is actually converting the chemical energy to electrical energy or the electrical energy to chemical energy. Okay, another thing is also there. See, the sensory signals, okay, which is sent to the brain through the cells and vice versa, and also the communication in between the cells of our body is mainly based on the electrochemistry. And the major reason for which we have to learn about the electrochemistry is the reactions actually carried out electrochemically are energy efficient and less polluting. That means they are eco-friendly in nature. So for these reasons we have to learn about the Now let us know something more about the electrochemistry. As we discussed that it contains, or the chemical reactions are the redox reaction. So actually in standard 11th also you must have learned about that the redox reactions are associated with some amount of energy. Okay, that maybe gives energy or in terms of the heat energy. Some amount of energy is associated with redox reaction. So we will call it as the chemical energy. If we just put that chemical energy or use that chemical energy and put that in a suitable arrangement, so we can easily convert that chemical energy to the electrical, which is actually produced during the redox reaction, in a redox reaction, to electrical energy. So that arrangement is known as the electrochemical cell. Mainly there are two types of electrochemical cell, because in electrochemical cell there is possibility that we can convert the chemical energy to the electrical energy, and there is also a case that from which we can just use the electrical energy to carry about a chemical reaction, which is actually non-spontaneous in nature. So it is of two types, mainly of two types. One is the galvanic cell, another is electrolytic cell. In galvanic cell, what is actually happening, the chemical energy is converted to electrical energy. And in case of the electrolytic cell, the opposite thing happens. Here the electrical energy is used to carry out a chemical reaction, or we can say a non-spontaneous chemical reaction which is otherwise not feasible. We can put the electrical energy to carry out or carry about that particular reaction. So in this electrolytic cell, what is actually happening, the electrical energy is converted to, I can write here also as it is not clear, see, is electrical energy is converted to chemical energy. Okay, so now let us discuss about in which situation the electrochemical cell will act as an electrolytic cell and will act as a galvanic cell. Let us discuss something more about the electrochemical cell. For that we need, as in the standard 11th, you must have studied about the construction and the functions of the Daniell cell. Okay, that contains in the chapter of redox reaction, that contains a redox reaction, that is when zinc on reaction with the Cu2 plus, that means when zinc is reacted with or treated with copper sulfate, it will give you Zn2 plus ion. Here only the ionic equation is written, it will give you Zn2 plus ion and copper. Okay, so we can say that from this reaction zinc is getting oxidized and copper is getting reduced. So if we just put that in a specific arrangement or setup, we will get a Daniell cell. It is actually, this redox reaction is taking place in Daniell cell. So now let us discuss about that. See, in this what we will take one zinc electrode which is dipped in zinc sulfate solution in order to know about the whether electric current will flow or whether there is the possibility of the conversion of the chemical energy to the electrical energy. So we will put that in a particular setup or the arrangement. Okay, so in this what we have taken one zinc electrode which is dipped in zinc sulfate solution. Okay, and in another beaker we took one copper electrode and which is dipped in copper sulfate solution. So we can say that the electrode which we have taken, so the same salt solution, we have dipped that in the same salt solution. Okay, and we have connected both the electrodes through the connecting wires, and both the electrolytes as the copper sulfate and zinc sulfate, we can call that as electrolytes, both the electrolytes through the salt bridge. Okay, so in this what is actually happening, the zinc as it is getting oxidized, so zinc from the electrode will lose two electrons and go to the solution, that is it will form Zn2 plus ion, and as it loses the two electrons, it will go from the connecting wires, through the connecting wires it will go towards the copper electrode. Here in this case or in this reaction we saw that copper is getting reduced, so that two electrons is gained by the which is present in the solution as the Cu2 plus ions are there. Okay, so Cu2 plus ion, one of the Cu2 plus ion can gain both the two electrons and just get deposited on the electrode, the copper electrode. Okay, so we can say that there is a flow of electrons from the zinc side to the copper side. Okay, if we consider both as the half cell or half reactions, here the oxidation is taking place, here the reduction is taking place. Okay, so we can say that as here the electrons is going from the zinc electrode towards the copper, this side the zinc is negatively charged, and where it is gaining two electrons and just get deposited on the copper electrode, so it is positively charged. Okay, and always remember one thing, that oxidation always takes place at anode. I am repeating, oxidation always takes place at anode. So this one we can consider it, this half as this one is the anode and here it will be cathode, isn't it? So now let us discuss by default, or we can say experimentally, it is found that if we take the electrolytic solutions at the concentration of 1 molar, the reduction potential value, we will discuss about what is reduction potential value, all these in the galvanic cell. So here we are just talking about or discussing about how the electrochemical cell actually which work, at what condition it will work as a galvanic cell, or at what condition it will work as an electrolytic cell. So Daniell cell, let me just tell you one more thing, Daniell cell is a best example of the galvanic. Experimentally it is found that the electrical potential of this particular whole cell will came out to be 1.10 volt when we have taken the concentration of both the electrolytes equal to 1 molar. Now let us discuss about what will happen if we just put some extra opposite potential to this particular cell. Okay, so first case, if the external potential is less than that of the 1.1 volt, that means the electrical potential of the cell, then what will happen? The electron flow will be as it is. That means the electron will flow from the zinc side to the copper side and the current will flow in the opposite direction. Just keep in mind one thing, the electron flow is just opposite to that of the current flow. Okay, where the electron, the direction of the electron flow is, if in the right towards the right hand side, the current will flow towards the left hand side. Okay, so in this case, as oxidation is taking place, if the external opposite potential is less than that of the 1.1 volt, so we can say that oxidation is generally taking place at this zinc electrode. The electrons is getting transferred, or we can say the electron is flowing from the zinc electrode towards the copper electrode through the connecting wires, and the electric current will flow in the opposite direction. Okay, so in this case we can say that the zinc electrode dissolves at the anode and the copper electrode get deposited, because the zinc electrode is getting, after losing 2 electron, it goes to the solution. So we can say that the zinc will dissolves at the anode, because here the oxidation is taking place at the anode or at this cell, half cell, or we can say at zinc. So as I said that oxidation always takes place at anode, and the copper is getting deposited after gaining these 2 electrons, it will get deposited on the copper electrode or on the cathode. Okay, so now let us take another case in which the external opposite potential, is equal to that of the 1.1 volt. See, in this case there will be no electron flow, because the external potential which is opposite to the cell potential, or we can say the electrical potential of the cell, so obviously there will not be any electron flow. That means the current flow is also equal to 0. The current is, there is no current flow in this condition or in this situation where the opposite external potential is equal to 1.1 volt, that is equal to the cell potential of this particular cell. Okay, now the third case arises. That means, okay, this indicates that there is no flow of electrons or the current in either side. Okay, so we can say that there is no chemical reaction taking place when the opposite external potential is equal to that of the cell potential. Okay, now the third case arises when the external potential we took, or we put the external potential greater than that of the cell potential, or we can say the electrical potential of the cell. Okay, so in that case what will happen? The reverse reaction, or we can say at this case, as the external potential is greater than that of the cell potential, the electron will flow from copper to zinc electrode. In this case, the electrons will flow from copper to zinc electrodes, and the current will flow in the opposite direction to that of the electrons. Okay, so in this case we can say that the electrons will flow from copper to zinc, and the current will flow from zinc to copper. In the third case, we saw that when the external potential is greater, the opposite external potential we are giving is greater than that of the cell potential, then a reverse reaction will take place, which is otherwise not feasible. But if we are just putting more amount of the electric current, in terms of the electric current, if we put more amount of the electrical energy to carry out this non-spontaneous reaction, okay, so we can say that, so this will, in this third case, when the external potential is greater than that of the cell potential, the cell will function or will act as an electrolytic cell. Okay, so in the next video or in the next lesson we will learn something more about the galvanic cell. Till then, thank you, take care, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.